And Stone on September continues. Stone on September continues. And we have two great guests here with us tonight, this evening, because all our guests are great. And as I always share, that the wonderful thing that I've been blessed with people who are in my life that I can go to. I don't have to go far to grab great people because they're right around me. So I've been blessed by the Most High to have some great people with us tonight. And tonight we have Brother Craig Butts. You all know him. He's tied to something called Unity in the Community. Unity in the Community, a great organization that has made some of us feel at home once again on River Street, but also doing other family-friendly entertainment in this area and beyond. My brother, Craig Butts, and then the other person is the Honorable Antwan Lang. I'm so happy to say the Honorable Antwan Lang because he's one of our elected officials. Again, tonight we're talking about leadership. Yo, we got a dearth of leadership. I'm just going to be frank with you because I had a conversation with some coaches this morning, and we were all discussing about how we've noticed that we don't have leaders in all realms of our lives. And so that's what we have again, our leader, that is the Honorable Antwan Lang, and also our brother, the Honorable Craig Butts, who's also, again, they're leading the way for us. They are the types of leaders that I think we need to have around us all the time. So again, to each one of you, Brother Craig, greetings to you. Brother Antwan, greetings to you also. Glad to have you all on here.
Appreciate it.
And to all of you who are checking us out on Run Tell That, we say share, 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 share. Let folks know because, again, important information. So now I'm going to throw it out on Run Tell That. We do this all the time, so I'm going to throw it out there. Who are you? And as our producer said, Mr. Producer has indicated, these two men right here can't talk. So I said to them, there'll be no filibustering. So, Brother Craig, who are you?
I should have known you start with me. I would say that I'm an older Black gentleman who basically believes in giving back to the world and giving back to my community and making sure that when we do that, we try to do that fairly, righteously, and on time. And that pretty much the overall, if you may want to say who I am from that end. Of course, that's where you get the name Aymar from. Aymar is a name I call myself from a long time ago. It's connected with Swahili for strong and assertive, and that's been a characteristic of mine for quite a while, so I figured it fit my name appropriately. Now, in Africa, they actually, from the brothers from the northern part of Africa, say it's actually pronounced Aymara, but he said, you Americans cannot roll that R, so I just kept it as Aymar. I'm done.
Yes, some of us know how to say Emara. So yes, some of us know how to do that. But again, you just let them know that that's incorrect. But anyway, we can handle it. So now, Brother Antwan, who are you?
Thank you again for having me. To answer the question, I'm a young man just trying to make a difference in other people's lives. But more than that, some may not know, actually, many may not know, but my name is Antwan Lang. I was born right here in Savannah, Georgia. But before my name was actually Antwan Lang or Antwan Thomas Lang, it was actually Antwan Tierre Wallace. I was born to a mom on drugs and alcohol and to a father incarcerated. And my biological mom, unfortunately, she couldn't take care of me, so her parental rights were stripped, and my father's parental rights were taken automatically. So I was born January 2nd, 1994, and I was born Antwan Tierre Wallace, placed into foster care from 1994 to 1998. And I was blessed to be adopted by two wonderful parents, Joanne Lang and Thomas Lang. My dad, Thomas Lang, was a longshoreman working for Local 1414, and my mother, a nurse. And so when they legally adopted me as their son, they changed my name from Antwan Tierre Wallace to Antwan Thomas Lang. And so I was just absolutely blessed to every time people see me on TV or they see me in the newspaper and they see Antwan Thomas Lang, they don't recognize that that actually was not my birth name. That's a name that was given to me after I was chosen by two wonderful people who instilled a lot of love, respect, a stable home, and that's what I needed at 4 years old when I really didn't have anyone. So I'm blessed even till this day. People like you, Ray, and so many others promising me, and I owe you guys a debt, and I'm going to pay that debt by being the best leader I can possibly be. I may make mistakes as a young person, but what young person doesn't make mistakes? As long as I learn from them and I continue to grow and I continue to lead with integrity, honesty, and patience, I think I'll be okay. And as long as I'm making you guys proud, that's the goal, and making my parents proud. Although they're gone now. My mom died when I was 13.
Mm.
My father died when I was 23. Although they're gone, I still carry their name. My dad's name was Thomas Lang, so I still carry their name. And anytime I'm out, I try to represent them with the best that I possibly can. So that's a little bit about me. But thank you for the opportunity again.
You should have let him go first.
No, no, no. But he ain't escaping right now. He ain't escaping because he doing something. Because y'all know the other thing. Everybody run tell that, and I gotta say this. Sonya Stanley. Sonya said, "You talking about where I'm from? You talking where I'm from? See how you gonna try to handle me like that? I'm from off the west side. I'm from off the west side, city of Savannah, west side. Okay, okay. I'm also off the east side too. I'm from off the east side too. I'm giving y'all some information. But also Hilton Head Island, since you want to handle me like that. So we're gonna move on to this right here because Mr. Lang tried to be slick. He tried to jump the gun on some things. So, excuse me, Craig. Now she said, Craig, where you from, Craig? Craig, where you from, brother Amar? Where are you from? That's what she want to know. She tried to correct me.
I am not from no west or east side that I know of. But no, I guess I was from the east side where I grew up. Kansas City, Missouri area. Yeah, Kansas City, Missouri.
So he's from the Show Me State. He's from the Show Me State.
Yeah. You show me state. I mean, you talk all you want. You just have to show me. That's pretty much how it rose.
That's right. So now we move on to this, and I guess you would delve a little deeper with regards to Mr. Lang, brother Antwan. So that way, brother Craig has his opportunity too. So now we do the thing that again, this is what we do. This is how we know people. We say, "Who your people?" Because you try to throw some stuff out there, but right now we go back. Who your people? Who your people? Antwan.
What you mean? Like my family?
You know that's what when we say that, you know, who your people? That's right. You're gonna try to do some out there early, but I ain't gonna let you escape like that. Bam, get a little deeper. Who your people? But that don't mean that you got 5 minutes when you get a little deeper.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. So some may know my mother's father's name. He was a disc jockey in Savannah. He was a Lang as well. Her uncle Joe Lang was the treasurer for the NAACP of Savannah for a very long time. My father was actually from Savannah, Georgia. and moved here, I think at like 7 years old. He was born in 1936. My mom was born in 1950. In fact, 2 days from now, we'll be celebrating her birthday on the 17th. And I guess a little further about me. After my mom died in 2007, a woman by the name of Krista Stevens Brown was one of my teachers when my mom died, and she had suspended me because I had been in trouble like that last week of school, middle school, 7th grade. And it just turns out that when my mom passed, it was literally the week that after she had suspended me. So she gave me an extra week with my mom that I would have never had I stayed in school. And it just so happened that she was the daughter of Pastor Matthew Southall Brown, Sr., and they adopted me in their family. And I've just been so blessed to be a part of that family and entrenched in the love that they've given me. So that's a little bit about.
All right. So, what radio station your family was connected to? What radio station your uncle was at?
His name was, I think they called him Jimmy Lang. So I don't really know all the history because I didn't even know that my mom was a part of a whole Lang family until after she was gone, and really after my father had passed as well. I didn't really know that part. So
probably may have been WSOK. May have been WSOK when WSOK was on Wheaton Street, right across from where we know Fred Wessel was located at. But yeah, probably WSOK. And so, and just to throw something out there, we'll get into this later on. Some of the Langs also attend a place called Herschel B. Jenkins High School, but that's another story for another day later on in the show. So, brother Imara, who are you, brother Imara? Brother Craig, who are you? Oh, excuse me, not who are you? Who are your people? Who are your people? Who are your people? Again, I'm looking at signs. So yeah.
Well,
maybe WSOK. Go ahead.
I guess I'll start first. Is Brother Jamal, you my people. And we really are from Kansas City. My wife is from Denver, second marriage, and we decided to come this direction because we love the water. And what we were going to do is do the retirement in the sky thing. I guess that's what you may want to call it. But this old saying I have: wherever you go, you take yourself with you. And she's a teacher, English teacher, so she did her teaching thing. She was here. I've been a community a community kind of activist, change agent for a long time. And so I came here and it just came out of me to start doing things. And so we had a chance to run into Brother Jamal. I think he was doing something at Hilton Head, something to do with the Gullah Geechee people out there, which I knew nothing about. And he came out with this usual Spirit of Africa dress they had. And at the first time when I saw him coming from up north, because I've never seen any brother do that before, I thought the brother was crazy. My wife and I, we were like, who in the heck is this? And traditionally we see African people do that, but they're usually from Africa, and they do that kind of dress. At least I've seen Africans do that when I was in Kansas City, Missouri. So to see a brother from America, or in this case from down south, to do it, I'm like, man, okay, what's he about? And we were kind of drawn to him since then, as many people have. And then from there, he really has been very helpful in the different adventures and projects that we've been working on with my wife and I. My wife, of course, my second wife, of course, from Denver. She's like the Kool-Aid mom when it comes to teaching. People just love her. Kids just love her. Right now, Richmond Hill, she's over there teaching English. She's got a multicultural class. We do a Black History class. She just had a meeting yesterday with the principal to try to get that thing together. We also did the first 2019 Martin Luther King Parade in Richmond Hill. Thankful for all the people that got on board with that, especially historical people who are over there, have history in Richmond Hill to make that happen for the first time. They still continue to do that from there. And of course, Unity Community, which is I guess it's really evolution, if you may want to say, because we first started to do a jazz in the park in Richmond Hill, and then we went over to Savannah Mall, and then from Savannah Mall, our door was open for us to do on Unity Community. And of course, Brother Jamal has always been helpful to us as we're getting over and under and in those minds. Sometimes we had to pat some ourselves. No, anyway, he's been very helpful with us through that. Other people that's been very helpful to us, Ms. Trotter with Savannah Youth City, my brother George, Marco George, First Baptist Church downtown, Sister V, and she was very helpful at the beginning on her walks. I remember her well. Of course, Shabazz have been very helpful, especially when we have problems down on River Street with this matter. Of course, we have young men who've been working with us from Ben Adams to a Triple G and Twiz. And I think about Marvin, all these young brothers who have helped us down on River Street and kind of kept us always in the know of what's going on in this community, because we're pretty much like outsiders. And that's where we did most of our work, if you may want to say, in the Savannah area. The Richmond Hill area, though, we did what we did. We're doing some other things for disenfranchised and the underrepresented folks. They're doing a movie every a month, if all possible. We had a big rally over there for Lord George Floyd. But the Savannah has still been mostly our heart, where we could see that we were actually drawn, if you say, from the ancestors. At least Jamal says that all the time. I believe it too. On why we're, I think Jamal always said to me more than once, great people have came out of here from Savannah to change the world. So you're part of that company. And then I think it's also said to me that there have been people from out of town who've actually came into Savannah and did some great things. Isn't that right, Jamal? You said that too? So Jamal has at least made a brother feel good about being here, even though I would say some of our partners I have up north and some in Atlanta told me, don't come to Savannah. Go as far as Atlanta. Don't do Savannah. But we're here. We're here.
So the question has been posed, how long have you been in this area? How long have you been here, Brother Imara?
2013, we first moved to Garden City, lived next door to the old particular mayor. He didn't say anything for a whole year until he finally came over one time and said, hello, I've been the mayor for 20 years in Garden City. What? That was crazy. Yeah. And then we had a chance to meet Mr. Gilliard. He was a pastor doing some stuff over there and helped him once in one of his things that he did, which was very nice too to get a chance. And then he's another brother that's been kind of very instrumental in giving me some things opening in this particular city. But it's 2013. And then from there in 2014 or something like that, we moved over to, what was it? Richmond Hill. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we can throw something out there to you all. What is your favorite song or favorite songs? And, with regards to the song that give you that, that, when you have that moment or sometimes that thing that gives you that rejuvenation. So, Brother Amara, what is your favorite song or favorite song and why?
I've got an old school song, was done by Sam Cooke, but then was redone again by Common, Change Gonna Come. And I remember when that background music, because I like to score music and what I do because I'm an audio engineer. Of course, anybody with the River Street heard all that music there. That's usually my equipment and what I'm pushing out. We hope to do some great things when the virus goes by, because I still love music. I was a drummer, still do drumming right now. But when they had the movie that was done with Washington. What's Washington's first name? Help me out, folks. Watch the actor. Denzel. And he played Malcolm X. And I remember the scene right now when he was driving by himself. Malcolm X was driving to his last speech before he got killed, and the song was called "Change Gonna Come." I mean, that really moved me, and still does to me as for an old school song. Yeah.
All right. And Brother Antwan, what is your favorite song or songs, and what's the meaning to you? What does it mean to you?
Well, I'm a little different. Well, first of all, address. Somebody put it in the chat that they knew my I guess my grandfather, James Gator, the Gator Lang. It was WSOK, Jimmy the Gator Lang, and I knew I was right because I had spoken to some of my family, and they had told me about him. I knew he had a nickname, the Gator. I knew it was something, but thank you so much, Miss Betty, for bringing that up. So the more people start to get to know me, they'll start realizing that I'm a little bit more connected to my community than people think I am. But one of the songs that I really like, especially right now, is Ain't No Stopping Us Now. And I like the lyrics because the lyrics speak to me in a way that says, there's been so many people that held us down, but now it looks like things are finally turning around. For me, I've had a lot of adversities, and you'll have people who tell you, especially as a young person trying to do good things. I mean, you hear so often of people saying that we're doing bad things. And my generation we're stealing, we're killing, we're doing everything but what we're supposed to be doing, which is go to school and be productive citizens, become a part of the political process, or get a good job, take care of your family. We're doing those individuals who are not doing those things get all the attention, but those of us who are trying to at least attempt to be good citizens are told you're not ready, you're inexperienced, it's not your time, wait your time. Um, we're told everything that we're not doing, but we're not told how to do it in order to get, it's funny because, it's like, well, you're not ready. Okay, well, when will I be? And are you going to, So that song just speaks to me because there are people who try to hold you down, but ain't no stopping us now. We're on the, and as I keep going forward, I'm on the move.
Yes, no stopping. So, and since Sonia Stanley, she putting stuff out there, and she is a Beach High Bulldog, Savannah High Beach High Bulldog, and I was not, and I was not doing any of this right now. But I'll say this just to put it out, since she throwing her stuff out there. Now I'll let you know when I played for HVJ, our theme song was "Ain't No Stopping Us Now." So I'm just saying that's at Herschel B. Jenkins High School. But we're gonna move on because I don't want no issue with Sonia Stanley right now. But bam, this is what the deal is, Brother Antwan Lang. Tell us, what does leadership mean to you? What does leadership mean to you? Because for those of you joining us, we are now talking about why we cannot interfere with new leadership. We cannot and should not interfere with new leadership. That's the theme of this Stono September show for Run Tell That. So, Brother Antwan, what does leadership mean to you?
Well, I'm in the military. I do serve in the Army, National Guard, and we have a doctrine definition of leadership, which is to influence and motivate people towards a common goal. But there's other levels of leadership that I think I should expound upon. I think leaders lead by example, but at the same time, Winston Churchill had a saying that said, it takes courage to stand up and speak, but it also takes courage to sit down and listen. And I think sometimes as a leader, we have to recognize when it's time for us to sit back and listen to those that are following us. So I think leadership is your ability to look at a situation and collect yourself and think and make a decision. Sometimes you have to make a decision very decisively, and then stand and have integrity. Have the ability to admit when you're wrong or admit when you don't know, and then find out the answer. And don't be afraid to, ask for help. I think that's one of the biggest things that I've had to learn. I'm 27. You didn't ask me how long I've lived here, but I'm 27 and I've been here 27 years. And so all my life I've been here. And one of the things I've learned about myself is I have a hard time asking for help. And I think that as a leader, we have to be able to delegate. We have to be able to ask for help when we need it, because we are not going to be able to get through this world by ourselves. And I think as a leader, you have to recognize your weaknesses. And I think sometimes asking for help is one of my weaknesses. And so when I do ask for help, I think part of it is because of pride. You don't really always want to look like you don't know. But in reality, as a man, we don't always know. And we have to be willing to admit when we don't know and when we don't have the answer. And people are going to have to realize everybody does not have the answer. And it's not a weakness, it's a strength when you admit that you don't have the answer to everything. I think in this position that I'm running for as state representative, I think people expect me to know almost everything about everything. And it's like, I don't care whether you're 27 or 87, you're not going to know everything. And I think recognizing that we're all human beings and we're all learning, having the ability to learn and having the ability to be coachable is one of the attributes of a leader. you're not going to know everything, and you understand that you're not going to know everything, but you're willing to learn and you're willing to listen. And I think that that's something that I do have working in my strengths. So that's some of the definition of a leader to me.
Okay, and now I'll share this with you that what you shared, Brother Antwan, is, and that's correct, that we are human, so we don't know everything. So, but what we can do as leaders, that we can then go to other sources to get the information. And there's no shame in that. That's right. Being a man, being a woman, there's nothing wrong with that. That my daughter, tell you straight, my daddy, he might not know what it is, but he know who to contact to find out about what it is. And I was like, that was, see, here she's understanding is 19 years old, and some of us, and that's why I want some of y'all to understand what's going on tonight. We are talking about effective leadership, and we need you now to assess leadership that's around us in all areas. And that's why now we come to Brother Craig, because what happened when they decided to do the events on River Street, no one had been doing it, and folks have been downplaying that as if that couldn't happen. But he and his wife, Sister Sharon, took the mantle as leaders and then went down there without any fear. So, Brother Craig and Marta, what is a leadership to you? What is leadership?
I would say, young man Lang, I'd say that's a form of leadership. Some of the things he talked about from a young man, and you look like you've been present for most of the 27 years you've been around, bro. I mean, there's some old folks who are older than me. They ain't been present. And they still stuck in the past. They ain't planning to move no place whatsoever soon. You know what I'm saying? I got some guys I grew up with that like that. So, you know, I like what you said, what you talked about. You must be a politician, right? You got to be a politician, right?
I'm a young man just trying to learn from guys like you. It's just I am in politics, but I'm in politics because I've learned.
It's my ignorance, man. You just got that kind of energy coming out of you like a pipe. Well, you know that, hey, going through the system in my day, going through the system was a way that, you know, many of us have did what we did to try to change things. I'm thinking about a brother right now, not H.Rack Brown. He was head of the Black Chamber, the Black Congressman in D.C., and he also was a representative in Washington. In Kansas City, Missouri. What's his name, Brother Jamal? Because I met him a couple of times.
So in Kansas City?
Like Kansas City, he was an old-time Black Panther, and then he became, and through the system, he became a representative.
Now, I know Bobby Rush was in Illinois. That's why Missouri. I can't think of Missouri. I have to search my.
Who?
Alums? Ron?
No. I'll get to it in Cleaver. Eldridge Cleaver?
Not Eldridge. Eldridge didn't. Yeah, no.
No, I'll get his name.
I'm going to say this right here. We don't discuss Eldridge Cleaver on this show. This show, we don't talk about him favorably. Those who might not know, I'm just letting y'all know. We'll talk about that at some other point. Man, go ahead.
Okay. Back to I forgot where I was. Oh, we were talking about leadership skills. Yes, leadership. I also think being a good people person, being able to listen, is very, very important. Some people don't have good listening skills. They really don't have good listening skills, and I think that's important. I also think very important, the older school that I grew with a lot of old school guys. They were self-made kind of guys. What they said is what they did. That's pretty much how, you know, I picked up in my life to be the same way. They all believe in being unique. Not like today, everyone's about the same. They all believe in being unique. Just like back in my day, people were very unique, you know, from Isaac Hayes to Stevie Wonder. All those folks were unique, how they look, how they talk, and who they were. And so I came up from that particular end, and doing as you say and as what you do is very important. I think also most important thing to me as a leadership is not to be gatekeepers. That's one thing that the brothers that I grew up, older brothers, I grew up, my uncle, who was the first electrician in the town he lived, and I did electrician work since I was 14 years old. Like, you know, I have much respect for him. He wasn't a gatekeeper, but don't get me wrong. If you act like you didn't learn, you in trouble. But he wasn't a gatekeeper. He would let information and knowledge to you in such a way where you would want to know. And if he don't tell you, you're going to go out of the way to try to learn, and he wouldn't stop you. So I think it's important to, if you're going to be a leader, not to be a gatekeeper. I think that's important. Last but not least, because I could go on and on, I think, and I'm not always the best at this. Well, I'll do this one before the last one. Consistency and persistence is always very, very important. I told my son, you may not be the smartest person than someone else, but I guarantee you, with consistency and persistence, you will outdo them every time. That persistency and as I said, follow through and follow up like that. The last one I think I was going to say is, and I'm not always good at it, is to have some good empathy and compassion, especially if you're working with people, to have that. I would say, again, the old school brothers I grew up with, that wasn't a big thing of them. I mean, I'm serious. That just wasn't a thing. You work 6, 7, maybe more hours that you're tired. Too bad. Keep on coming back. So they just wouldn't like that. But I could tell the younger folks have more of the empathy and compassion that I think is important. And my generation, we learned more of it than the generation before. But I think it's important to have some kind of empathy and compassion with a balance. Now, I'm not talking about fragility, but I'm talking about that sensitivity that is not just about concern about you, but you also are concerned about others. I'm done for the least.
And great points. You all brought up some great points. And again, those you out there, share, because what we're talking about is about leadership, and that the points that they threw out, that is Antwan, Craig, what they threw out there were important points for us to evaluate and assess the leaders that we have today. Again, it's important for us to assess the leaders that we have today and throw something out there. This came from someone that taught me, and he taught me about the principle that he said we need to have what we call communicrats, not bureaucrats, but communicrats, that they understand the commitment to communities and also looking at and assessing policies as to what is the impact on communities. But we'll move on to something else now. And the question I have, I'm going to throw it out to Brother Imara, Brother Craig first. It is it time for new leadership? Is it time for new leadership? And elaborate on that. Either way, yes or no. Elaborate.
Sorry about that. Is it time for new leadership?
Yes.
I'll give it to you the same way the older brother to me, who's been in the movement for a long time, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, some others, I can't remember the next name. His name is Joe Madison. He's an old time brother, young in heart too. He has a program he does in Washington, D.C. I've been up and visiting him and visiting his wife at the same time. They call him the Black Eagle. He's got this saying, it's this way, which is, I'm prepared to pass my torch on to the next youth, because I think that's very important for us to move forward, no doubt about it. And many of the great things that happened was because of the youth, from the Freedom Riders and so on and so forth. Just learned something about that Freedom Rider story too, by the way. But anyway, but at the same time, he says, I'm still keeping my torch, because if I don't keep my torch, I'm going to be lost in my way. So I'm taking the same approach. Yeah, I believe in passing on to our youth. I'm doing that right now, even with Unity Community, because we're going to make sure it goes on. They want to make sure the legacy of Unity goes on, even when we're not here, not around, which is fine with me. But at the same time, I'm going to take the fire, take the energy, take all the experience that I have from others, and take me wherever I go, in so many words. And I think that's important. Hopefully, I helped you.
Okay. Now, something that was shared by, again, those who just not joined us, we have on here Brother Craig Butts of Unity in the Community, a great organization here in this area of the coastal areas of Georgia, and even gone doing some things in South Carolina. But then also we have on here the Honorable Antwan Lang, one of our Board of Elections officials here in Chatham County. And he threw something out there that some of us heard. And see, that's why somebody like Reverend Clarence Teddy Williams can vouch for this. And some other people can vouch for this. That, again, they talked about saying, when people want to become leaders, take on that get that mantle of leadership, folks tell them, say, you're not ready. And they continue to tell them that they're not ready. They tell them they're not ready. And now what you have witnessed with regards to in Savannah and Chatham County, Georgia, you now see leaders who now came about. New leadership, I'm just going to say on the aldermanic side, new leadership coming about based on people who are now in their 50s and in their 40s. Because they could not get it there, and they couldn't get it in the 20s and their 30s, because the old leadership here were still maintaining it for themselves. And we like saying, no, wait a minute. We need the invigorated leadership here. You can't do that. So what happened? And I'm going to throw it out there, and I'm not throwing it out there for you, Antwan Lang, till I was like run with it, but I'm just giving a perspective. They cripple us. We were crippled by this mentality that is pervasive, that has been here in Chatham County. That's why I said, guess what? That was a comment made in the 80s, the 90s, to 2000, the 2010s. Only in the 2020s are we even able to not grasp the magnitude of like, no. And so we leave out cadre of our best and our brightest, so that when Sonia Stanley said, our young people leave here, guess what? They leave here in part also, not just because they the job, but because we don't have them in positions to now take on the mantle, accept the mantle, because when they want to go and do it, we are so afraid about our own egos and not understanding it's about we go together in success and greatness. So again, that's why this show is about leadership. And so again, the essence of it is, and I now go to you, Antwan Lang, is it time for new leadership?
I think it's based on the new leadership and their ability to get an agenda done or get things done. I think it is time. There's always, and like the Bible says, there's a time and place for everything. And I think it is time to have individuals like my generation and those in your generation to take on the mantle. But I think it's also incumbent upon us that we always do it with the right motive, with the right intentions, with the ability to say to those who are passing the torch, even though you're passing it, I'm still hungry for what you have. I'm hungry for the experience you have, the knowledge you have, and I want you to share it with me, that as I'm in these positions, I don't make the same mistakes that you either made or that others made. So I think it's incumbent upon us as new leaders coming into these positions that even though the torch is being passed, whether or not it's being fully passed or not, when the torch is passed, that we take it upon ourselves to look up and look out to those that just passed it to us and say, listen, you might have passed it, but you're not done. We've got the energy, we've got the vision, but you still have some connections that we need. You still have some knowledge of the history that we need, so that we don't make the same mistakes and go backwards, that we don't get the big head and think we know everything. Because just because we're in a position doesn't mean that we know everything. It just simply means that we're in a position to make change. But we have to make change based on information and based on history and based on knowledge that's passed to us, and then based on new knowledge that we learn from our experiences. Mr. Butts just told me, or just kind of gave me a compliment in terms of, really saying that I'm a little older than, because there are people his age and older who may not have learned some lessons. But that's in my view, wisdom comes not because of experience. It comes because you learned from your experience. There's a lot of people experiencing a lot of things, but they're not learning from it. There's a lot of people making a lot of mistakes, but they're not learning from their mistakes. That's why they keep making them. I think it's incumbent upon us as young leaders to make mistakes, make them very fast, and then learn from them. So that by the time we get where you are, by the time we get to the age where you are, we should be past where you are by the time we get to your age. So that's a generation moving forward. And that's my view on that. I don't think that it's incumbent. And let me say this very clearly. I don't think anyone should be trying to pit generations against each other. I think if anything, we should be trying to come together, and those who are older than us they can learn from us just as well as we can learn from them. And I think that if we come together, I think that's how our generation moves forward. There is no young generation takes over and then the old generation goes sit down and retire and they never talk to us. That's not progress. Progress is when they move us into position and then they teach us and show us, hey, this is where you need to stay away from. This is where you need to go. These are the people you need to talk to. These are the people you need to kind of, watch. Be careful, but watch. These are the policies we put in place, and this is why we put them in place. But you might need to change the policy. But before you change it, understand why we did what we did. That's how we move forward. We don't move forward because I'm 27, I want to be a state representative. No, we move forward because I say, I think I have something to add to the table. And then when I get in that position, I go back and say, ma'am, sir, I'm here. Why did you make the decision that you made when you were here? So that I can understand how I move forward and what vote I need to take. That's how we do that. Not because I'm on an island by myself. I'm sorry I'm so long-winded, but that's how I feel.
And that's fine, because now, so when Brother Antwan Craig said that he saw the African spirit on Hilton Head, he saw the African spirit in South Carolina doing something. Y'all know what the African spirit, or some of y'all understand what it's about, is the spirit provides a moral compass for the community and also a understanding about how we should be functioning. So now some of y'all sitting out there thinking that when I solely talk about new leadership, you think I'm just talking about, and I gave you some thoughts with regards to age. No, what we have going on, and it's not just here, but across the entire country, and I have shared this before, some of y'all heard me share it, so I know some of y'all probably said, wait a minute. When he talks about leadership, it's not just political leadership, it is tied to education, it is tied to social organizations, it is tied to every fabric of our churches, it's tied to every fabric of who we are. We have ineffective leaders in many of our organizations, our entities. So those ineffective leaders, guess what? They're doing us a disservice all around. So now this is the deal. New leadership involves any of us. That's why some of you sitting at home right now, checking this out, or at work, or in your car, when you're looking at this show right here, you need to say to yourself, this is my call right now for me not to step out there and become the leader, because we have seen how this other person who's in charge, they have fit the model of the bad leader. And so some of us sit back and we don't get engaged or don't get involved because we leave it up to somebody else. And so then our society, our organization fall to crap because we have these ineffective leaders, because they want to be out there. They want the notoriety. So yes, the new leadership, guess what? I'll share this with y'all, because the new leadership, what happens is this, because that saying we talk about, we can say old guard, the new guard, but actually guess what? The old guard trains this new guard that functions just like them. And that's the danger, because we see people who are in their 20s, in their 30s, in their 40s, who are functioning like some of these other people who have held us back, who've been the watchdogs, the guard dogs, who've been the ones who've been the gatekeepers for us. All they do, they create another generation of them. And that has happened. We have seen that. So I want y'all to be clear about this right now. We need to check all of our organizations, anything that we're a part of. We need to check all of them and say, do we have the best leader in that position? And who will be the best leader? And we need to get them involved, because that's a danger that I see happening. That's why when I was talking to some coaches, we had talked about a situation that occurred, whereas football players have been attacking the coaches and also threatening coaches, that family members coming out there on the field at the practice with weapons in their pockets. And the coaches, as opposed to addressing it, they've been playing a game with it. We like saying that's ineffective leaders, because then you put up another child, but then don't address the ones who are causing the problems. Ineffective leadership, because that now plants a seed in those young people. That's why I say that old guard. So now, Brother Antwan, I'm going to come to you, and then we're going to throw it on to Brother Craig. What is your vision for our community? What is your vision for our community?
I think the first thing we have to start doing and having a real conversation about is, what do we mean when we say our community? I think when some people say our community, they're talking about a very specific segment of the population. And until we start realizing that our community means literally everyone, I think we're just going to continue to have the same thing that we've been having until if you're really, I mean, if we're gonna go there, let's just go all the way there. Until we start realizing that white people in our community have money, they have the economy. We may have the political power, but they have the economy. Until they're willing to share, and until we force them, in some instances, there's a level of saying, you're going to share the wealth, and this is how you're going to do it. Until we do that, unfortunately, the most powerful thing and the thing that the United States recognizes is money and a vote. If you don't have money, it's very difficult for you to get anything done, even after you vote. So the first thing I would like to see is for the race relations in our community to get better, because there's a clear divide. There is a clear divide amongst the races in our community. When I say our community, to some it will mean Black people. To others, hopefully it means all of us coming together for a common goal. And hopefully my vision is when we talk about items such as East Plus, or when we talk about items such as hotel motel tax, that we're also talking about how all of us can eat a part of the pie, not just some. Because when I'm looking at a policy, I'm not just looking at the policy on the surface. I'm looking at, so for example, when we're talking about East Plus, yeah, we're talking about building, we're talking about a money in a pot of millions of dollars that build beautiful schools. But at the same time, we're also talking about contracts and contractors who are getting the contract. And none of that money is coming into the African-American community. Yet the school looks great. It looks beautiful. And the students are African-American for the majority part. And they're going into a very beautiful school. But it wasn't their parents who owned the construction company that built the school. It wasn't their parents who are able to pay for them to go to a better school, because although the East Plus took care of the building and it made it look nice, it didn't take care of the resources such as computers or the textbooks that are outdated. So even though we have the beautiful school, we don't have the education. We don't have the actual knowledge. I know I'm going all around, but my vision is for
because Brother Craig has had an opportunity also to just to let you know that.
My vision is for us to have better relationships with one another, for us to learn from one another. Because I think the issue is we don't know. We live in our own silos. When we look at our school system, it's educated. We have more in our area than I don't know what. And most of the private schools are majority white, which means those majority white schools are those kids are growing up probably not every Black friend. And so when they get old enough and they actually meet a Black person, the only thing they know about that Black person are the individuals that they learn about on TV who are being arrested or being vilified in the news.
Did you ask me to chime in, Brother Jamal?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Oh no! What I was telling him that you should have some time too, because everyone knows that Ron Telbat is the little brother of all the ATR shows, so we don't have the luxury like others of having an hour and a half. We have 57 minutes at the most, you know. So, but I have to throw this out there and let y'all know that what you were saying, Brother Lang, is this: that you talk about this divide. That divide has been here, and that what has happened in Savannah, you've had, and Brother Imara is bringing it up about the old, the gatekeepers. That's what the gatekeepers have done, and they have groomed again. People who are in their 70s and 80s have groomed people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s to still maintain this imbalance regarding the African American community here. So when people not call them out and address them about it, people get mad about it. When in actuality, that's what's supposed to be happening. That new leadership, that's why I've been saying we got to address this right now. And they are ineffective, and they have told all of us to be quiet. So now, Brother Craig, go ahead, give us your vision of the community.
I think just again moving right along with this young brother, because I work with a lot of young brothers. I'm glad to see that he has a somewhat what I call I'm getting old to Ubuntu belief system. And Ubuntu is an African term which says, I am who I am because of who you are. Again, I am who I am because of who you are, Ubuntu. So you have that sensitivity to be concerned about others because what others are putting you. Some of the young folks that I've worked with, I try to work with them with that same kind of understanding. I think a lot of them still connect with me because they can see me as their father and I see them as a son. We kind of talk about that, even though my son don't pay much attention right now. But anyway, my point is that the need to have that Ubuntu kind of philosophy is something that hopefully as older people, which is why I said moving right along with you, can instill, because a lot of young folks are about themselves and a lot about getting paid. That's what they say to me every time I talk with them. And when they come together with a project or something they're trying to move on, many times it's about what they can get out of it. Instead of understanding it should be a win-win for everybody around, and it shouldn't be just the direction of me getting the advantage in that area. I think it's important as having young leaders like you understand that dynamics for our next generation, because I guess some of the old guard who I've been with, talk with, are afraid that they're going to lose out if the young folks take over, because they're like, we won't give nothing to you anyway, because you didn't, like you said the first time, and I've heard that from more than one young man, which is you old guys, mainly because fathers many times were not at home anyway for some black family. Says I came out of a fatherless family myself, where you never taught me anything. And because you never taught me anything, then you can't really talk about me, about how I'm acting the way I'm acting. And so you got that generation gap thing where you have the older ones feeling like, man, them young folks, once they move and groove, they're going to forget all about us. And so hopefully when you get young people like you and others who believe in what just simply called giving back in your life, whether it's your family or your community, then we can keep that bonding. We can keep that true unity that we've been working for, that love for brothers and sisters, a love for one another. That's important. And it's not, it's beyond just Black Lives Matter, because it's really about, do you feel your life and other lives that look like you matter outside of other people's lives matter? I think that's very important. So hopefully that kind of next bridge for young people was something that will move on. As for the school thing, as you talked about, no doubt about it, my wife deals with it all the time. Young folks are still going in cafeterias separating by race. They still doing that, kind of like in prison. I know some people tell me in prison they do that. That's still going on in many schools. So at that level, that real unity thing that you're talking about, it's not really being passed on in the next generation at the lower level. At least this is the high school, what my wife tells me. I don't know what goes on in the middle school or anything, how it is. They're a different generation. They talk differently. They really see life in a very different way than what I can see. They see it more like video games. That's how they pretty much react to life. Yeah.
And so to share this with y'all, Sonia Stanley, I'll put it out there. She understands. She's aware of this, and she put it out there. What she said: new blood, new leadership, and that's why I said that new blood is not dependent on age. Because I'll share this with. There are people out there who don't want me to be a leader right now, so it doesn't matter. That's why I'm saying it's not just about the age. It's just about what you possibly bring to the table, because you're gonna come to the table not trying to continue the same madness, the same evil plan of division. Rebecca Rose called it. They have always exploited the division. So that's what's going on. I'm like saying, yes, new blood and our new leadership. That's what that has to happen, because that's why we are falling apart, because we have the same old people in those positions. Ain't nothing has changed. The same story, the same language has been used from the 1600s, 1700s, 1800s, 1900s, 2000s, 2020s. We tend to get caught up thinking that, oh, it's generation. Ain't no god doggone generations. It's based on people who continue to exploit. They exploit us, and Antwan called it out, put it out there. And I'm saying to you all, yeah, it ain't about no age thing. It's never been about an age. It's about a system maintaining a group of people who was basically still exploit their own people. and they engage in exploitation overall. So that's why I say right now, do you think they want Julius Hall as a leader? No. Julius Hall represents a danger to them, a threat to them, anything. That's why it still must be about new blood. So we're going to give you all 1 minute to discuss an endeavor that you have going on right now, coming up, like maybe like tomorrow, so the public can be there with you all. So again, I'm giving you 1 minute each. Okay, we'll start with Brother Amar. You go first.
Well, tomorrow we're doing a social justice kind of program. That's over at Georgia State University, Armstrong.
Georgia Southern, not Georgia State. You got the wrong GSU, baby. It's about, let y'all know, I'm an Eagle now, so it's GSU, baby.
Okay, well, you could also tell he's going to be there too, by the way. So we're going to do a pictures in video presentation, bringing you some pictures in video I put together with a young man when we went to the December 14, 2014 March on Washington. It was keyed off of the young brother who was killed in Florida dealing with that Skittles things, and thousands, 100,000 people went there. So we went there with a group on a bus, and we decided to document it in pictures, in video. We've had it at one particular gallery before called, give shout out to Brother Jamal, not Jamal, Jerome at Indigo Galleries. That was off for Waters years and years ago. Went very, very well. And we were blessed by having Mrs. Maxine Bryant to give us the opportunity tomorrow between 4 and 6 to do it again at the ball. I think it's called their ball center or something like that. The old Piggly Wigglies, I think that's what it is, between 4:30 and 6:30. We're going to have some great guests there. I mean,
you're going to post the information, correct? Because again,
Okay.
6:57. So we're going to Antwan. Antwan, you got 1 minute. 1 minute. Before the producer cut us off.
I'm having a launch to my campaign tomorrow at the DFACS, the Department of Family and Children Services parking lot. Just launching my campaign for State Representative District 165. The purpose I'm doing it, the reason I'm doing it at DFACS is because, again, I was adopted, and I want every child in foster care, or just every child period in our community, to know that it doesn't matter where you start. What matters is the respect you have for yourself, the attitude you have towards life, and you have the power to have goals, to have dreams, to go after them. And so I hope to see people there to support me and to support the dream and the goal of bringing in some, as someone said, some new blood, but not just new blood that just wants a title, but new blood that actually wants to make a difference. So thank you again for the opportunity, and I look forward to serving.
And again, Sister Sharon Butts put in there at the Armstrong Center. It's saying the old Piggly Wiggly. Most people, they don't even know the old Piggly Wiggly. They don't even know that. But just say the Armstrong Center. That's what they'd be there. They're going to be doing it in Savannah. Then next Thursday, they'll be in Statesboro. So just throw that out there to you all again. We thank you all for joining us. Great show. And we say share to everyone. And the last question I generally ask everybody, what is the best high school in Savannah, Chatham County, Georgia, and the entire United States? I will answer for everybody. Brother Mara is going to say Jenkins High School, HBJ, and Brother Antwan Lang going to say HBJ too. We can't hear nothing about no other school, Antwan. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. No. Again, watch out that.
Nice.
Glad to have you, brothers. And again, support them tomorrow, 12 o'clock, Antwan Lang, and then 4 o'clock. Armstrong Center. Again, please see they'll be posting information on Facebook and other media outlets. So again, thank you all for joining us for Run Tell Back. And again, new leadership, new blood right now is needed. You be the leader.